All right, we're back. We're going to take a look at seeing your potential and where a business can come from in real estate.
And this is all part of this plan.
Yeah.
Nice.
It's all incorporated. So I love how Lindsay breaks it down, and he's said this for years, but real estate boils down to having a list of people and providing value to those people.
Yeah.
And it's just as simple as that. Real estate isn't an easy business, but it's a simple one. It's been around forever, and so it's just figuring out what we were talking about before, what works for you. So going through this and talking about potential, we break down your sphere of influence and database.
Yeah.
When you were in your final years of selling, where was the bulk of your business coming from?
Where was my final years? So in terms of where was it coming from? So I would say most of it in the final was from my database. But I had been working for 5 years and working hard. And I had been really fortunate to work with Madoran and Tom.
Right.
So the three of us worked really well together. So we had I got a lot of business just from that partnership as well.
Yeah.
I would say, yeah, it was, by that point, it was repeat and referral.
Nice.
Yeah.
And it's a good point. I'm glad you brought up both Madoran and Tom, because those are two greats in our industry.
Yeah.
And I know that they thrive on that personal relationship and their sphere of influence. And there is very few people that can actually go into his past clients and past relationships and create deals out of nothing like Tom Sherry.
Seriously.
Like,
we need to get him a license plate that says Mr. Deal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like it's incredible. Like, he can just start going back and it is in large part to this whole database review part, but he'll start just going back through the people he knows, and
yeah,
he creates business.
Yeah, he does.
And he just dials it back and pushes forward as his lifestyle.
Does the same thing. She goes away for a couple of weeks and comes back, and all of a sudden she's busy again.
Yeah. So, and
it's
that's
a gift those two have.
Well, it's a gift, and it's also being able to not be afraid to approach the people that already know, like, and trust you.
Yeah.
Because they know that they're providing value. So if we go through this database income calculator, and let's just use the example from before. So we know we've got 20 past clients now. So 1A, 20 deals. We've poured through city census information and know that the average age of a Calgarian is 37 years old. We're a really young city, and they typically move every 7 years. Now, the people that are closer to 65 years old are moving every 12 to 13 years. So they still move quite often, and people typically move when there is a major change in lifestyle, and that can be marital status, both ways. It could be having children or empty nests. It can be business. It can be anything. It's just people move to constantly improve their own position in life and adapt how life is kind of throwing them curveballs. So going through this, we know from those 20 clients, there's about 2 transactions that are going to come out of that database. And it doesn't matter if they've only been there a year. Stuff happens, and averages follow through. It's quite incredible.
Yeah.
We also know through the Harris Interactive Survey that the average person knows 4 people that moves every year. And if we say they only know 1 person, then there's 20 potential referrals right there. So if we say that we want to get 5% of those, then that's another transaction. But if you really, and we'll do this after, if you really focus on building your referral network, you can bump that 5% up dramatically, and I'll show you what that does to the numbers.
Okay.
Then we go into the friends. So how many people do you know on a first name basis in the Krebs area that you could just call up and grab a glass of wine or a coffee? Nothing to do with real estate. Just call them up and
Lots.
Ballpark number.
Okay, let's say I could call, let's just say 20 people.
Okay.
Hopefully they'll buy.
20 people in there. But the strength is really in the referrals, because if you're going to be able to get 70% of those people that are going to be referring you those one people that they know every year, and there's another 2 transactions. So just from the income database, you're getting another $42,000 on top of that 150 that you've already generated through your additional income pillars.
Yeah. So this is the exciting part about the numbers, is once you start looking at the potential that you could achieve just by working with these numbers and massaging them a little bit.
That's it.
Yeah.
The average person in their entire sphere of influence knows about 150 people. So as you're building out these relationships, if you can get that to 150 friends, then that jumps up significantly, and it breaks down the referrals, and your income jumps up over here to 180,000. So it's a way that you can marginally increase your bottom line.
Yeah.
Just by meeting more people, bringing value to those people. And all of this is done through your annual marketing program. Whether or not it's like your Best My Nest program, it's a homeownership where you're providing value. Kirsten has developed our newsletter and the Best My Nest program, and all of these service values, because people are always interested in improving their own position.
Yeah.
HGTV is the largest watch network ever. Millions of people tune in every month, and it's all about home improvement and how to better your own position. So why do we always feel the need to have to talk to somebody about how to properly stage your home, or make sure your rooms are clean, or your closets are organized for showings? I'm not selling. What does that matter to me? So focus on actually providing value to them, and what matters to them is, how can I improve my own position?
Yeah.
And so every phone call, every touch base that is business related revolves around, how can I make your life better? And then the law of reciprocity, business returns to you.
Yeah.
Does that all make sense?
Makes perfect sense to me.
Do you have any questions about that part of it?
I don't think so. I think they're selling real estate on the chat.
Yeah, nice. So let's say we can get our existing database client referrals up to 50% of those, and see how that increases. We go from 180 to 248.
Yeah.
So, and one of the things that got me thinking about why we focus on relationships in real estate is because actually it was a quote from Mother Teresa that really kind of hit it home for me.
Okay.
And she said, if you want to change the world, go home and love your family. And for me, having a young family, that really hit home, because I know that if I just raise my kids right, they're going to change the world. If everybody kind of focuses on that. But then I took a step further. And if you look at it in business, and quit trying to be everything to everybody, quit trying to market to everybody, and just focus on the people that already know, like, and trust you, then you can have a significant impact on their lives, which improves your life. And it really hit home for me.
And it really grows from there, right? So let's say I've done a great job for one of my friends, and then they've moved into their new house. We might have hit a couple of bumps just for things that are out of our control, but it was my reaction to those bumps that helped them get through the process. And then they're sitting in their nice house, and they've had a dinner party a few months later, and someone says, "This is a great house." And your friend says, "By the way, if you guys are thinking about selling or buying, our realtor was fantastic." Hopefully, that's what she says, or he says. And that's how it happens. That's how it happened for me.
Yeah, it is how it happens. And you do a good job, and business repeats. And then maybe 3 years down the road, they're sitting in their backyard, and they're sitting on their new patio, and they're like, "Man, this is a great patio." Well, my realtor actually hooked me up with a discount through this landscaping. So it's all about that marketing, and it just builds.
Yeah, it builds, yeah.
So the next part of this is talking about your marketing pillars and flow, because you do want to expand out beyond your database. Like eventually, once that foundation is set, you want to expand beyond that.
Well, even if you're just working your database too, or your circle of influence,
Yeah.
you have to have a certain amount of marketing to almost give you validity.
Right.
Right?
Definitely. There's a webinar through Ninja Real Estate or Ninja Selling, and the guy actually projects his annual income to like within thousands of dollars, and all he uses is real estate reviews. And it's the same principles as this. His marketing pillar is real estate reviews, and he knows how many people he's got to talk to generate X amount of business.
Yeah.
So it's interesting. There are examples of the marketing pillars. We're hoping to expand this out. This is just version 1 of the business plan, but the marketing pillars goes through some of the stuff that you can do to generate business. And then...
Okay, so this page totally jazzes me.
yeah.
Yeah. You cannot ignore these numbers, you guys. And if you took the Ninja program with CIR, you know, the Ninja course that we offer every November, you've seen this before. But I think we should be hanging this on our bathroom mirrors.
Yeah.
Because we get sidetracked by some of these things that don't really, I get the idea that you have to do some, you know, online lead generation if that's the kind of realtor you are.
Yeah.
But look at these numbers. Cold direct mail. 1 in 2,000 pieces are going to get you the potential deal.
Yeah.
But if you go down to the bottom of the list, your referrals. 2 out of 3 people.
It's incredible.
It is incredible. So, I mean, we need to look at this and as a realtor, look at this. Put it on your bathroom mirror.
Yeah. But it's important to be reminded of that because we all, and myself included, are distracted by what's next.
Yeah.
And always looking for that. What's the
new
next
shiny thing.
Yeah. And there are some pretty cool tools out there, and I'm not saying that we have to ignore all of that stuff, but the fundamentals of real estate is relationships. And I was at a conference last year for Inman Technology. They do a massive publication for North America, and for 20 years, Brad Inman has been saying, you got to adopt technology. You got to adopt technology.
You do.
This year, or that year, last year, at 2017, he was saying, you have no choice. Technology is adopting us. And he used the example of smartphones. There's little robots in our pockets, literally thousands in the room.
Oh, that gives me the willies.
Yeah. And he said, technology is adopting us. You just don't have a choice anymore. Now, it's our job to bring humanity to technology.
Yeah.
And technology should always be used to increase our own efficiencies and improve how we live, but it should never replace the relationship.
No, and we know that, right? We know that so many people are craving that face-to-face.
Yeah.
And, yeah.
It's funny how, and this is just my own theory, I don't know if this is going to be accurate or not, but the generation before the baby boomers was called the silent generation. And historically, they were always the largest generation to rely on word of mouth and referrals.
Okay.
And then the baby boomers came along, and they're the do-it-myself generation where they just took over the world and had that mentality that I can do anything. And the phenomenal generation.
Yeah.
With that came like the marketing programs like Craig Proctor, where it's more about the call to action marketing.
Yeah.
And then came along Gen X, and we're kind of a muddle of everything. We were raised without technology, but have to implement technology through our working careers. And that's when like online business boomed. And now, interestingly enough, everybody's terrified of millennials. Nobody understands a millennial. Millennials are rapidly becoming the largest generation to ever rely on referrals.
No kidding.
Yeah. And my theory on this is because there's so much information out there, you can get a little bit of knowledge on anything. But then, how do you determine what's true, what's false? And
I was just going to say that. Do you think they have a mistrust of a certain amount of what they see in technology? Because some of it is not true.
Yeah.
And they're starting to learn that.
And they get it. So then they'll ask their friends and family, okay, who did you use? But the only thing that's changed from the millennials to the silent generation is that Before, when you got a referral, it was a slam dunk. It was like, oh, I got a referral, I'm just going to go and do this deal. Now, you have to prove to them that you are educated and you're going to make them more educated. So I believe that we are rapidly evolving away from salespeople to educators, and just knowing how to interpret data and, or more importantly, communicate.
I was just going to say, so we need to be good communicators.
Yeah. And it's interesting to see that evolution, and business is always cyclical.
Yeah.
So I just find it really interesting, and why we have a higher percentage of closing ratios on those face-to-face marketing activities like walk-ins and open houses and referral marketing.
Yeah, yeah.
Make sense?
Yeah.
So going down through this, and let's just remember 7% from open house conversion ratios, and I'll even use 2% for online lead generation, because then when we implement what marketing programs that we have, and this is an example of what you can do to stay in touch for your marketing throughout the year.
Yeah, and this, there's more, so this is an example, but there's more of this called the flow guide,
Flow
I think,
calendar,
on the virtual office. So, and we keep telling you guys about this flow program. It's huge. So if you haven't implemented something like a flow program, take a look at it on the virtual office, and try and put some of that, even just one thing a month. Put one thing a month into practice for your database. Now, I just saw a question again about where do we get this tool. So for those of you who missed it, we will be uploading this onto the virtual office at some point in the next week, hopefully, and then you'll be able to download it and use it for your own planning.
Yeah. Looking at your marketing pillars, what you want to implement, again, you just go in and type them out. Then there's worksheets on how to implement, going through your business source, which is the marketing pillar, the marketing plan and tools you want to use, your daily and weekly activities, milestones and timelines for implementation. So every goal should, and I like the acronym SMART, strategic, measurable, actionable, realistic with a time frame, so that you actually have it, so it becomes something you can say, I'm on track with this goal.
Yeah.
Going through the marketing pillars. And then you implement your numbers. So let's say I want to do a weekend, or two open houses every weekend for half the year, which would be 52 open houses, because otherwise it would be 104 if you did every weekend.
I was going to say, right. Yep.
So, and then let's say we can expect to get 10 people through each one of those open houses through the marketing initiatives to get the invites. Happy Home Contest is a great way to do this. But let's say that's 520 people, and we have a 7% conversion ratio. There's another 5 deals.
Yeah.
And then those go into your referral networking and your marketing program, and we can expect to get another 0.2 deals out of that. So not a huge one, but it's going to continue to build. Let's say you want to do online marketing, and so it's going to be bigger numbers, because it's a numbers game. And let's just say 1,000 unique visitors to your website every month. So 12,000 visitors with 2% conversion ratios, 31 deals there, if you can get 12,000 visitors.
I was going to say, do I have to talk to all 12,000 of them?
Yes.
I like to think I'm an extrovert, but I don't know if I'm not much of an extrovert.
And it's funny, but if you go 1,200, which is probably even more realistic and manageable, that's 3 deals.
Yeah.
So where are you going to spend your time? And do you want to be calling 1,200 people, or do you want to just be face-to-face with 520 people?
Exactly. That's exactly right.
And then you can continue to go through that and do your projections. This is another $62,000 through your income pillars. And it calculates it all down here. So everybody is keeping track. And then transition to action. And it goes through your projected daily activities. This is all through the bachelor program as well, so nothing here is new.
No,
We've
just put it into a simple
illustrating how it
We've
works.
just put it into, Steve and Lindsay just put it in. Oh, and Corinne, hey?
Corinne did all the programming. Sarah did the
Thank you,
page
Corinne.
designs, and yeah, it was definitely a team effort. It worked so well.
Yeah. By the way,
going
we
through-
do have a great team, hey?
Phenomenal
Yeah.
team. Yeah. So this goes, the goal sheet goes, and it did your first year review.
Yeah.
So your current year, we did 150,000. Now focusing on improving our database and our marketing pillars.
Yeah.
It all calculates it. So based on just the short few things that we adjusted today, there's 41 deals that we can expect to go or have. We have to go through 72 appointments, which is a week or 1.5 appointments per week.
Yeah.
Based on taking a month off, because it's all on 48 deals or 48 weeks, and it just boils it down. So instead of looking at, okay, I'm going to do $309,000 this year. Now what?
Yeah.
So I think there's an epidemic in our industry where everybody knows what to do and what we want to accomplish, but we don't know how to do it or what the next steps are. And that's what we're looking to answer to try and help the agents in that sense.
It reminds me of that saying, how do you eat an elephant?
One bite at a time.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love that saying.
Yeah.
And then goes through transition to commitment. This is the SMART goals: specific, measurable, actionable, relevant, timely. And then at the bottom we have a commitment statement. So, and we were chatting about this at one of our management meetings, and I believe that to fall short on a goal has become socially acceptable.
Drives me crazy.
Yeah. But you'd be like, oh, I didn't quite make my goal. Oh, it was a heck of a year, good work. So I personally don't like the word goal anymore. I had to change that to make that switch in my own mind. And it was really, and everybody has their own mind blocks and your own challenges you got to overcome. But I like the word commitment, because if you don't come through on your commitments, then that has to do with your integrity, and there's nothing that will allow me to fall short on my commitments. And so I make a commitment when I make my goal, as opposed to just saying my goal is, which is kind of the aim, but then I commit to this action and you get it done.
Right.
So
you could think of it as, so my goal is to make 300,000, or maybe it's 100,000 next year. Okay, so my goal is to make 100,000 in commissions next year. My commitment is I will be in my office by 8:30 every morning.
Yeah.
I will make as many, and this is how I did it actually. I will make as many calls as it takes throughout the week to make sure that my next 10 days are full of appointments. And as soon as my days were full of appointments, and it was amazing actually, it was the exact amount of calls that I was in the office from 9 until noon every morning doing my business.
Yeah.
And somehow I had all of my appointments filled.
it works.
Yeah.
And it just,
And that was my commitment.
yeah. And your business is a testament to that.
Yeah.
Because you did phenomenally well. And even if using this example that we've created, so my goal is 300,000, 100,000, but my commitment is to set one meeting a week, and with somebody that's interested about chatting about real estate.
Yeah.
So, and lots of people have this thing, well, I don't want to be that person that you're always contacting people, talking to them about business. That's not what I'm talking about for a
not
second.
at all.
Because I don't want to be that person. In fact, once you get busy enough, everybody just wants to talk to you about real estate, and you're like, I don't want to talk about real estate. What's going on in your
I
life?
was just at a dinner party this weekend, and
Yeah.
that was the first thing someone said to me. So what's the market like?
Yeah.
Can you forget I'm a realtor tonight?
Yeah. And it's a good problem to have, but
Yeah.
it's just calling people and connecting with them and providing value and being a good person.
Yeah, so one more sort of what I would say is I would make these appointments and I would say, let's go for coffee. You know what worked for me was I asked them questions about them.
Yeah.
So what do you do? How's work going? How's the family? I never once brought up the fact that I do real estate,
Yeah.
Because the next time we go for coffee or inevitably in that particular appointment
Yeah.
or meeting, they would ask me the same thing. And eventually it just comes around to, hey, well, you know what, if you're interested, I could get you that market report.
Yeah. Yeah.
If
Or
you want.
if they're in an area or they're in a conversation, it's funny how much business happens over a coffee. And if we were outside of real estate in any other industry, and I mean, say you're an oil executive and you need some downhole products and you happen to know a guy that is
Downhole products?
like pipe and
All
drilling
right.
bits.
Okay.
But then you have a friend that sells that stuff. You're going to at least give them a shot at the business.
Absolutely.
Let's get this guy to
Yeah.
give us a quote, right?
Yeah.
And it just happens over conversation. So it is good to maintain relationships and just the forward acumen, family, occupation, recreation. I don't like the dreams part of it. It's not. It doesn't fit well with me.
Doesn't fit with you, yeah.
But I like any vacation plans.
Yeah.
Right. So just make it work for what works for you. So
Yeah. Great tool, Steve.
that's it. I
That's
hope that it
amazing.
works
Yeah.
the way we're anticipating it to.
Yeah. So just, I guess, I probably shouldn't say this, but I'm actually going out to Okotoks tomorrow to go through this with the Okotoks agents. So
Nice.
if you're part of the Okotoks office or you're going to be in the Okotoks area, I'm meeting everyone there at 10 o'clock tomorrow morning, and we're going to
Perfect.
go through the plan. So I'll have it available for you. Hopefully we can have it on the virtual office as soon as possible, like we mentioned, and then you can download it yourselves and start working through the numbers.
Yeah. I think that's fair.
One bite at a time.
One bite at a time.
Yeah.
Focus on one thing at a time.
Yeah.
But that's our tool. Hopefully, if you don't have a business plan in place, this one will help you. If you do have one, maybe this gets you thinking in a different direction that will add to the one that you've already had. But any questions, all of the managers are up to date with this and how it works, and everybody's had a phenomenal sales career. So if you run into those stumbling blocks or hurdles, let us know.
Yeah, we're here to help.
We're here to help. But that's our meeting. Thank you for joining us.
Yes.
And we look forward to a good week, and we'll see you soon.